Fake, fraud and false flagger. A bit strong? Well, watch and listen and tell me if I'm justified in saying that. Dutchsinse has filed a DMCA against a video of mine. He's claiming that his intellectual property rights have been infringed. The video of his that I was commenting on consisted of screenshots of a US patent with Dutch describing the patent for his viewers. Except, of course, as I clearly demonstrated, the words out of his mouth bore no relationship to the patent on the screen. The patent was for an artificial ionospheric mirror, i.e. a means of mimicking the radio-reflective characteristics of the ionosphere by electrically charging an area of the atmosphere below the ionosphere. A similar technology as used by HAARP, but HAARP operates within the ionosphere. I doubt there was enough intellect exhibited by Dutch in his video to allow a claim of infringement of any kind. And of course Dutch took down his original, as often he does when caught red-handed. Through ignorance or deliberate design, Dutch mangled the words of the patent until they were unrecognizable. A feat he had to achieve to fit what he was seeing on the page into the fiction he created in his head. Now there were just 3 pages of patent description, together with 16 pages of helpful pictures, but Dutch could not manage to interpret it correctly, and made a claim as fact that part of the patent had been censored, which I clearly proved was not the case.
And so back to the original patent illustration and a verbatim quote from the patent itself. Quote, "The heater antenna 1 is an array which can be used to focus energy at varying altitudes and elevations to tilt the AIM-2 using phase and frequency control. The AIM-2 simulates the ionosphere 3, which is also used to detect over the horizon targets 5. In addition, the AIM-2 can reflect radio signals transmitted from a transmitter 6 to a receiver 7 over long distances." End quote.
This would be HAARP right here, the grid. It projects up into the atmosphere and it projects down to, this is the tilted mirror. So they create this with spraying. They're able to create a tiltable mirror.
They're spraying up there at the wavy line, which is creating a tilted mirror down what? Try reading the patent.
To reflect down to a house.
No, not a house, Dutch. That's the transmitter station.
Or to another dish.
No, not to another dish, Dutch. That's your bog standard target acquisition radar.
Let's see if they have 22 labeled on here. They don't have 22 labeled on here. So there is pages missing, of course. They're probably classified.
No, Dutch, there are no pages missing and nothing is classified. You just have to read the patent.
Now Dutch has around 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and a handy PayPal donation button on his website. He's a YouTube phenomenon, a legend in his own Wikipedia entry. And I quote, "My interest in weather and seismology, earthquakes, volcanoes, comes from years of personal radar study, meteorology, seismology, geology, magnetism, optics and computer systems design. And I also have first-hand knowledge of the design and manufacture of FLIR. My father worked on the Boeing forward-looking IR before he passed away." I'll read a bit of that last part again. "Also have first-hand knowledge of the design and manufacture of FLIR my father worked on." Of course, that would mean that I'm a trained gynecologist because my mother had 5 kids. I wonder if Dutch knows what the words first-hand mean. But back to Dutch's, and I quote, "years of personal radar study." Years of study. And yet he does not know what this is. Of course he does, I hear you cry. Well, no, because Dutch claims on his blog that this is a square wave. Just to be clear, the square wave in the Stanford document is explaining how the HAARP signal being transmitted into the ionosphere is being modulated. A square wave modulation is quickly flipping between 2 values. You could think of it as a high-low or almost an on-off. Listening to the square wave, you can hear this stepping backwards and forwards very quickly. Comparing it to a sine wave makes it much clearer. But of course Dutch, with his years of radar study, would know this, wouldn't he? Or is he lying to us? Otherwise, why would he claim that this is a square wave? Can you spot the difference? This latter image is of course caused by data missing from a composite image. Data from weather stations around the US is filtered and combined into a composite image, which is then available to users. If part of the data fails, there is a gap in the image. It has been very clearly pointed out to Dutch on numerous occasions that his pseudo-scientific nonsense has no basis in reality, yet he continues to spread fear and lies. He claims that the government are producing earthquakes and controlling the weather, and his disciples lap it up. If you pop onto metabunk.org and search on Dutchsinse, you'll find threads dedicated to debunking his nonsense. You should take nothing as read on Metabunk and check all the facts for yourself, but it provides clear evidence that Dutch manipulates comments, deletes comments, ignores the facts when presented to him, and will even remove comments from an entire video or the video itself if the truth gets a bit too hot to handle. Now, Dutch had a comment exchange on one of his videos a couple of days ago. An excessive use of the old caps lock there, Dutch. Might I suggest you look at my Ike 9.1-1 Internet Trollers keyboard? It'd really speed up your replies. Now, firstly, Dutch states that my video, is now totally debunked. I know that Dutch has a problem with facts, but denying them is not debunking them. After this comment exchange, Dutch dumped a couple of comments on my video so that I could see them, and then he filed a DMCA against it so that nobody else could see them. His first comment is an incoherent rant, and nothing to do with the content of the video. It didn't even make sense to me after I put it through my conspiratard to English speech decoder. The second is at least coherent. Let's look a bit more closely at this coherent reply. Well, you've not owned anything except look foolish to a group of thousands of people who know what's going on. Now, of course, he knows he's lying here. Why would he DMCA a video that only serves to make me look foolish to thousands of people? That would be daft, wouldn't it? This probably occurred to him after he posted this comment, and that's why he flagged the video. And the thousands of people who know what's going on? Dutch obviously thinks this is a popularity contest, and that people who subscribe to his channel, watch Alex Jones and the History Channel, know what's going on. Well, if those thousands consider Alex Jones to be a font of truth, they should perhaps watch my video on his lies concerning the Nazis and fluoride in water. My video fully referenced with the facts of the matter traced back to the original source. Or they could watch my video on Alex Jones' nonsense concerning YU55 and Elenin. Remember YU55? No? Well, Elenin then. On that show, Alex's expert witness was Dr. Brooks Agnew. Now, Agnew is the man who plans to lead a party to find the North Pole entrance to the hollow Earth. Yes, I know this sounds like part 2 of my April Fool's video, but sadly this is all factual. I'll get back to Brooks Agnew when I look at the History Channel. Guess you'd be bummed to know I've interviewed 3 meteorologists and 2 Well, no, Dutch, this isn't a numbers game, it's a facts game. And what is possible is different from what's practicable or probable or provable. But what about all these HARP facts presented on Alex Jones? Who was his expert witness? Well, it's none other than Dr. Nick Begich. It's good to have an expert on board. So what is Dr. Nick an expert in? Well, it turns out he has an honorary male order doctorate from the Open International University for Complementary Medicine in Colombo, Sri Lanka. But a true expert in his homeopathic field, I'm sure. So let's leave Alex Jones and turn to the History Channel, and we're back with Brooks Agnew. And it is he we see here, oh so carefully, placing a rock on a close to 45-degree plane. Carefully so it doesn't slip before he starts vibrating the soft sand beneath it with sound waves. Not radio waves, sound waves. And this demonstration is meant to prove that HARP can be used to cause earthquakes. And this hollow earther is Dutch's History Channel expert. So back to Dutch's comments and his circles, squares and sawtooths. He proudly boasts of these in a vindication video which he put out and then for some reason removed. Sound familiar? Sadly for him I have a copy of it. He also claims on his website that Stanford have censored a document he referenced. Sounds familiar? Of course. It's a 4-year-old published article, freely available. You just have to look for it. That's what study's about, Dutch. But I don't think real research is a part of Dutch's life. Thanks for watching.
Behind your prayers, what do you